Welcome into Daybreak Live, final half hour of the show on this 17th day of February. I think it's 17th, and a lot of wind and rain headed your way this morning, but we want to talk about the big fish. Joining us this morning is Patrick Mcdonald and Krista Kromer. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. So glad to be here.
It is an honor to have you both with us, and we've got a studio audience here as well today.
Yeah, clap.
Yeah. How many of these shows, programs we've done the last year?
This is 4 in the last year with Southern Dance and Performing Arts. So
now, bigger and better, I guess, every show?
So far, and I have no reason to doubt. The acting in this has been so great. Our rehearsals have been going way ahead of schedule, and the music, the dancing.
What is it about?
It is about, ultimately at the core, it's about a man and his son who have had a troubled relationship. He was a traveling salesman, was never there, and it's them coming to grips with what it means to have a good life.
Mm-hmm. Krista Kromer, you're not a rookie in these type performances. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, this is definitely not my first show. I've basically been doing theater ever since I was a child. Ever since I can remember, I wanted to be on the stage. I did move to Kentucky for about 2 years, so this is my first show back since COVID, and it feels really great. I'm excited to get back on the show. Like Mr. Patrick said, it's going to be a great one because we've got a whole bunch of talented actors, and everybody's doing so great.
So how did you get started in this? You know, you said it was a dream of yours, but something had to trigger that dream. What was that?
Probably when I was back in 4th grade, I saw this little poster for not the Trials of Alice in Wonderland, but it was a Christmas Carol, and it was one that Miss Janie Giddens was putting on.
Yeah.
And my mom said, "Well, hey, do you want to do this?" And then I said, "Sure." And I got the role of Pan, who was Scrooge's sister when they were children, and I fell in love there, and I kind of lit up on the stage, and I knew that it was something I wanted to do for a really long time.
Wow, fantastic. And Patrick Mcdonald, who's been directing this forever, this is going to be at B.B. Cromer, right?
It is. It's a great facility, B.B. Cromer High School Auditorium, on March 10th, 11th, 12th, and then the 18th and 19th the next weekend. Plenty of opportunity for everybody to come and see it.
What goes into directing a huge production like this?
You know, musicals are their own beast. I mean, you've got to put together all the regular things that you do for a play, the acting and the set and the costumes, but then in a musical, you've got dancing and choreography that takes a great deal of your rehearsal time, and then music to make sure that you're singing it well on stage. So it's all those elements. Basically, every part of the actor is used in a musical, where in a stage play you can be a little more laid back.
Krista, I've seen a lot of pictures and depictions of witches. You don't look like a witch.
No, not right now. This witch is, without spoiling it, she's a little bit of a roadside attraction. We'll start there, and she's got a couple of tricks up her sleeve. So she doesn't really come into her full witchy power at first on stage, and I think that's really great.
Yeah.
I am so excited.
I bet you are. Now, Patrick, how many people are in this production?
We have a cast of 24 for this production, and then about 10 or 15 backstage, putting everything else together. The costuming has been huge, not quite as huge as our last performance, but the set has to be built, and all of the different pieces. We've got a lot of settings for this, so you've got a lot of different ways to portray that on stage, and it's just exciting. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's alive, and you know, the message I want to get out is, if you are a guy, the ladies, I want to be there too, but if you are a guy and you have thought, I don't know if I'd like to go to the theater or not. You want to come to Big Fish. This one speaks to men as well as women. It has a message that is going to just resound in your hearts, and it's going to take you on a ride like you're at Six Flags on the biggest roller coaster. You are riding this show all the way from start to finish.
And it's just a few weeks away, too.
It is. Starts on March 10th, so we've got about 3 weeks before our opening night.
For people who think, well, that's all well and good, but how do you finance events like this and theater productions like this? How do you do it?
Well, I don't pull the money out of my own pocket. No, we have a growing list of sponsors because as people come and see the shows, see the quality of the performances we're putting on, they are signing up to come on board and help us. I mean, we've got Alabama Arts Alliance and the Alabama State Council on the Arts. The Alabama State License Tag Division has given us a massive grant. The Talladega County Volunteer Program, Resolute Forest Products, Argos USA, Hendrickson Properties, Camellia Homes, Heritage South Credit Union, Donahue Physical Therapy, Family Eye Care here in Sylacauga, Nexus Bookkeeping, Greystone Orthodontics, Southern States Bank, and JLT Events have all signed up to be sponsors for just for this show, and some of them for the whole season. But
yeah. Ballpark range, what kind of cost does it go to put a production like this together?
Budgets for musicals are in the $20,000 to $25,000 range.
That's not too bad if you say it real fast.
Well, if you add a few dollars, it becomes real money at that point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how can we get tickets to the Big Fish?
Best way to get tickets is sdpac.net, sdpac.net. You can go online. There's a link right at the top of the page, and you can get your tickets there. If you don't want to go online, you can call the office at 256-245-1669, and they will kind of walk through that process with you. All of our tickets are electronic, but the good thing is that when you book it online, we actually have a list, and so if you come in and say, I've lost my ticket, then we have the name there as well. You're guaranteed you're going to get in. So if you lose a paper ticket, you got to go buy another one.
Yeah. Krista, encourage other young ladies who may be contemplating theater and talk to young ladies this morning about your start and how it can be beneficial for them.
Do it. That's all I can say is just do it. There's going to be a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety about a lot of things because, theater is getting up on the big stage and you got to do your thing, but it pretty much pulls an entirely different person out of you, and you can really show exactly who you are when you're on the stage. And sometimes the start can be a little bit scary, but the end result and the way that I fell in love with it, I know many, many more people could too. Yeah. If they just did it.
Yeah, you're a student at what? At Montevallo?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I go to the University of Montevallo. I am a mass communications major, and I'm really excited about it. It's very fun.
I bet so. Patrick McDonald, who's the director of The Big Fish, and of course Safe Southern Dance and Performing Arts Company, and The Big Fish. Who's some of the other characters in this production?
Well, the main character is a fellow named Edward Bloom. And it's really the story of his life as it happens in his retelling. And just like a fish story, it gets bigger every time he tells it. And so
I've shared some of those stories.
Well, I represent that remark. But the whole thing is told much from his point of view. And then his son, Will, we actually see growing up. My son, real life son, plays the young version, and then we have Michael Vick, who is playing the older version of his son. And he is a look at everything straight-laced. I don't want to hear any frills. Just give me the facts. And Edward is all about vibrancy and life, and really. The arts kind of person in the show. And all I can say is when you hear Krista sing, you're going to be blown away. She has a powerful voice and has one of the greatest solos in the show. We see all the characters. There's a giant, there's a werewolf, there are all kind of mermaid, all kinds of characters that are on stage that are part of Edward's recollection of his life.
How do you choose color schemes? Because that's so important to visualize colors.
It is. We do in this show, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a directorial spoiler here, but anything on stage that's happening in his memory is going to be in vibrant colors. Anything that's happening real life right now is going to be in muted colors. Because for Edward, everything that he remembers is so much bigger and brighter. He lives in those memories, and he builds those memories, and he's trying to pass on those memories to his son. And so all the way through it, everything that he recollects is going to be much bigger, technicolor, as they used to say. And then the real life is a little more drab at various times. We also do color schemes with characters. We've got one character, Edward's wife, who comes on, and there's always yellow associated with her. And I don't have any other yellow costumes on stage at all. We highlight characters via color. That way you can pick them out. When you've got 25 people dancing around, if you know that you're keying on a red or a yellow, then you can pick them out of the ensemble and know that they're there.
Krista, how do you remember lines? I mean, goodness.
Years of practice and repetition.
Yeah.
It's all about going in, and even if it's not saying the lines out loud, it's all about going in and rereading until I'm rereading it in my head without even having to look at the paper at all. By the time I get there, I've got it.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned Michael Vick. I remember Michael when he was a little boy, him and his sister.
Yes.
And I would have never thought he'd been in theater. But here they both are.
They both are, and they're both incredible actors. So absolutely love working with them. Michael Giddens is playing our Edward. He's been doing theater in the area for ages. And along the lines of memorizing lines, one of the things that we teach, it's one of the techniques we teach in our musical theater program, is how to do that. And we spend the first 2 weeks of rehearsal not just learning the lines, but learning why those lines are being said. So that they're coming out of the character.
Yeah.
One of the scariest things is to get to it and realize you're saying the line, and I'm not having to remember it. It's just coming out because that's what I say here.
You're that character.
Yeah, exactly. You're becoming that character. And so what we try to do is we try to make that happen about 3 weeks out from the show, so they get very comfortable in that skin. And it's coming from a place where they know exactly what they're saying. They're not just reciting a line on a page.
So let's talk about the Big Fish. It's coming up. First date is March the 10th, but you can have several opportunities to see the show. And again, kind of capsule what's going to be happening and where it's going to be and that kind of thing.
Okay, Big Fish, we're doing the school edition. Sometimes you think junior things are cut out. Basically, they cut out the bad language because there were a few bad words in the Broadway version, because Broadway has to have bad words.
So they can't be successful if they don't.
Apparently not. So what they did is they took the language down to where schools could come and watch it. Cut a couple of minor things, but it is a full length 2-hour show extravaganza that's going to be happening at B.B. Cromer Auditorium at March 10th, 11th, 12th, and then the 18th and 19th, 7 p.m. all of those nights. Also, we have school shows on the 15th and 17th. They can call SDPAC at 256-245-1669 and talk to the staff there, and they are booking the school shows. So if you have school teachers or administrators listening, there are opportunities for your students to come and see it. And some of these grants have been so that we can can offer reduced price shows to those students during the day. So that's where some of these sponsorships have come from.
And we're also always looking for new students.
Absolutely. I love it when they say, well, I saw the last show and I said, I think I might can do that. Every show we get those, and every show we get people coming into auditions that never knew how good they were. And it blows me away when we start finding people who are falling in love with the craft, falling in love with theater, and just absolutely enjoy getting up and becoming somebody else.
Yeah, Krista, what's the future hold for you, maybe?
I want to be a social media manager, but I know for a fact I want to keep doing theater. Some of the shows coming up in my school I plan on auditioning for, and some of the shows here I plan on auditioning for. So I definitely want to keep theater a part of my life as I go on to professional life after college.
Can you recite a line from the character The Witch? Can you do a line just kind of being a witch?
I have to think of a line.
Okay.
Your death is glorious.
Thank you. Everyone dies, Edward Bloom, but your death is glorious. Let me show you.
Ew. That raised a hair on my neck, you know. So this is just one of the characters that is in The Big Fish, and Patrick Mcdonald always thinking ahead, and there'll be others coming up this year too, right?
We have one more that's announced. We haven't announced our next season yet, but the next show that'll be coming up will be in the early summer. We'll be doing Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, which is a stage play, not a musical. So a little bit smaller cast, and gives us a different way to develop our actors.
Tickets for this show, what, $15?
$15.
Okay, and they can get them how now?
They can go out to sdpac.net or call 256-245-1669 and talk to somebody there. They'll get you hooked up with tickets.
All right, if you're capsuling The Big Fish, I'd leave it with you to do that.
Big Fish is about a man who has grown up and his son has become increasingly distant from him because he has been on the road all the time. But everything about his life is about inspiring that son. And so he tells tales. He's not like anybody I've ever met. I love the character because he is so far out there. But he is doing his best to raise his son and give a legacy to his family. He wants to be remembered. He is basically becoming immortal in front of your eyes.
Fantastic. Patrick Mcdonald and Krista Kromer from Safe Southern Dance and Performing Arts Company presenting The Big Fish coming up in March. And we appreciate you both for coming today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
More Daybreak just ahead.